Everyone seems to be complaining that MSP marketing no longer works, but nobody is talking about why. It's time to dig in today. Hey, it's Jason Parkinson from ONEFIRE. Look, everybody's talking about MSP marketing no longer working. I hear complaints about this all the time. However, nobody's digging into why that's the case. Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit and talk about the reasoning why. And it starts with this fact. The MSP landscape has changed. And what I mean by that is 20 years ago, companies were predominantly working with internal IT resources or outside computer companies in more of a break-fix engagement. And those monthly recurring agreements with a managed service provider was a very novel idea. Fast forward to 10 years ago, and companies are embracing the outsourcing of their IT needs to an MSP for things like cost savings and scalability, all the things that you've been selling your business on, right? And those break-fix companies have made the transition over into the MSP model. But today, companies who can benefit from an MSP, they're already in a long-term contract with one. And the friction of switching makes them very fearful to do anything different. Most markets are now saturated with MSPs with very little differentiation. But look, that's not the only thing that's different here, right? The other thing we want to make sure to consider is that the old B2B playbook is broken. So, cold calls, let's face it, they're annoying and they're never returned. If you have BDRs or inside sales reps whose only job is to just press the flesh on the phone, they're not going to be getting nearly as good of results now as maybe they used to. When it comes to creating content for your website and waiting for people to show up, it just doesn't produce enough qualified leads. Tons of garbage, not enough qualified leads. Social posts, it's often tuned out and ignored because so much of that now is completely controlled by the algorithm. And even paid ad strategies just aren't driving enough conversions to justify the big investment that exists when we're talking about those platforms. But it's more than just the tactics that don't work as effectively. The entire way that people live and work has changed now. And the shift was happening long before COVID upended things. 20 years ago, look at this. You had a 9-to-5 workday, work happened inside of a closed office space, and fast internet to homes and businesses was just starting to become available. If you think about it, that's back when MySpace launched. Fast forward 10 years, people are now working in an 8 to 6 plus workday, open concept offices, and internet's available on your phone and you're always connected. But today, people are working whenever they want. They're working remotely from anywhere, and everything is in the cloud. But finally, people buy differently now than they ever have before. And this is the reason why your marketing doesn't work like it used to. 20 years ago, you had a relatively uninformed buyer and their journey was driven by a salesperson. And that sales and marketing playbook was all about interrupting them with cold calls and advertising. 10 years ago, your buyer was more well-informed. They were starting their journey with Google. They were searching for ways to manage their IT better, ways to cut costs, and of course, you wanted to show up in Google. So that sales and marketing playbook was all about attraction with things like website content and social selling. But today, you've got a relatively misinformed buyer. And what I mean by that is that they think they know what an MSP does because they've had experiences with other MSPs in the past. And so not only do you have to inform them about what you do, you also have to tell them why you're different and why they should care. So the message has to completely change now to overcome the preconceived notions that they've got about what working with an MSP is actually like. Also, the buyer's journey is now way more fluid. They respond to receiving value. They may start with Google, it may be driven by a salesperson, but regardless, if there's no value being given to them, they're not going to give you the time of day. So gaming Google, like with SEO and keywords and all of that, just no longer works. And the sales and marketing playbook now has also shifted. Now it's about showing up at the time of need, being authentic, and building a human connection. So, It is time to change your approach to marketing and sales for your MSP. Doing the same thing that you've been doing without the results, it's the definition of insanity. You need to shift your direction for next year, make some adjustments to what you're doing, and really capitalize on the moment so that you've got an opportunity to outperform your competitors. Would love to have a conversation with you. Drop me a DM or just schedule a meeting on my calendar and we can talk. I'll talk to you soon.